Yeah, it's that kind of a morning. It's day 127. We stayed last night at the Poplar Ridge shelter and pretty much woke up to a thunderstorm this morning. So, yeah, I'm trying to navigate. Hang on. All right, so our original plan was to do I think almost a 15-mile hike, a 4,000 foot elevation, make it all the way to the Crocker Cirque tent sites. But we ended up waiting out the thunderstorm, so I spent an hour and a half just laying in the shelter waiting. So that cut into our time, so we're going to change our plans and I think go to Spaulding shelter, which is 8 miles and 2,600 feet. So an easier day, but a wet day. One of the first challenges will be we're going to have a stream crossing that is going to involve some wading. Depth will be determined. We've had some of the comments are knee deep, after rain, thigh deep. We'll see. That's only in a couple miles. So we'll prepare to get it wet. Well, it's a nice little trail right here. We're just heading up. The comments on we're going to be going up a mountain, Lone Mountain, and comments are that it's really not too bad. Not as much scrambles and technical stuff as we've had to deal with coming over the Saddleback area. So that'll be good. A little tired of butt sliding and weird stuff. So yesterday, the last couple of miles, my left knee came back as very painful and made it slow going. So I have a brace on, or a compression sleeve on today, and yeah, so far so good. It feels great. Not feeling any pain at all. I don't know if it's just from overuse. Yeah, we'll see. We've been making our descent for a while. A couple of notes. One, right after I said my knee was fine, it really doesn't feel 100%, but it's better. I don't know if the compression sleeve is what's making the difference. I can still feel the pain though, but not bad. I can keep going. And this whole thing has been pretty much a rocky descent, but it's not really bad because these rocks are relatively grippy. It doesn't mean I feel totally safe on them, but it's not too bad. I still have to pick my way down, and it's a little bit of a slow go, but you know, like the rest of this trail, it is what it is. Now here's an example of an interesting dilemma. So yeah, slick rock, pretty steep right there. Wouldn't want to do that. So my options are to go across, and you can see where those two big roots are that are light. People actually have grabbed that, and then kind of work your way across and then down to the bottom, or traverse this little section by this tree trunk and then work your way down the dirt there. So I don't know. They both have their pluses and minuses. It's kind of the thing that makes this interesting. All right, I just did that one that we talked about, and I did the roots. It worked out pretty easy. But immediately we're faced with another one. Do you go across? That looks sketchy going down there. It's a big, large, mossy piece of rock. But you do have a flat surface and then another flat surface. But then you pretty big jump down to the bottom. Where you go here, you got some roots to help you. And yeah, I think I'll try this side. Yeah, so we did stay in the shelter last night, not in a tent. And I might have went with tent, but it was really late, almost getting close to getting dark. And I still had to like make dinner and stuff like that, and so it was easier. But there, you know, my internal jury is still out on if I like staying in shelters versus tents. So obviously the quick positive of a shelter is I don't have to put the tent up and don't have to take it down. But really, that's only like 5 minutes to put up and 5 minutes to take down, maybe even less. So that's not really an issue. I think the bigger point is just that if there's any rain, I mean, obviously putting a tent up in the rain would be bad, unfortunate, but just taking it down after it rained during the night, you've got a wet tent with mud all over it and on the bottom, and you know, you got to just kind of pack that away and figure out how to eventually dry it out. I mean, that's probably one of the bigger things. So yeah, but what's the downside of a shelter? Well, I can tell you last night there's only 4 people in the shelter, me, Buzz, some, I don't remember her lady's name, and a guy from Winchester, England. The lady just snored up a storm all night long, really loud, kind of like my other tenting issue a couple weeks ago. But worse than that was not the snore. For some reason, it wasn't that bad as far as bugging me. Is that she got up 3 or 4 times during the night, and each time she got up, she'd turn on her red headlamp, which I'm glad it was red, but it was bright, and she'd look around, and man, when it pointed towards you, it was like the eye of Sauron. I mean, even with my closed eyes, my eyelids would glow red, and very hard to sleep that way. And I'm sure she was trying to be quiet, but banging about, just walking around on the boards, getting off her bed, her mattress, getting things in and out of her gear. I think she's just going out to pee. But man, I don't know why she had to get stuff in and out every time, you know, but then put her shoes on, etc., which I understand. Anyways, I'm not saying I was all kind of like, I mean, it just kind of sucked. So, you know, it kept waking me up, and, you know, not that big of a deal. I mean, I felt like I finally got enough sleep, but still, it kind of makes me think, yeah, shelters, I don't know, you know. So having said all that, our plan is to head to the next shelter. I think it's Spaulding shelter, something like that. And because of rain, stay in it. We'll see. By the way, that woman is southbound, so she's going the opposite direction. All right, we're here at the Oberton stream. Buzz found a way to get across, but he doesn't recommend it. There's quite a bit of bushwhacking up and then bushwhacking back, and then he slipped and fell on a rock and hit his shin. So he recommends just getting wet. A little wet, but it's not too bad. Yeah, the underwater rocks are slippery. You don't have a lot of grip. Woo! It's a little fast here. Alright, that wasn't so bad. We survived.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think worrying about the water is, we probably overthink that. And just get a little wet, it'll dry, it's fine. Yeah, at the shelter, another hiker was telling us, she was Sobo, so she was telling us about the ascent right after the Oberton River. And boy, it's steep. Alright, I'm waiting for Buzz. He took a wrong turn ahead of me and walked over towards the falls. Thought that was a trail, but he's having to bushwhack his way back. I don't know where he ended up. A little concerned. Kind of sketchy, steep area to be bushwhacking. There he is. There's some convenient handles on the side.
What's that?
Convenient handles along the side up here. You can grab the roots. Nice of them to put the path near all these roots. So we're here at the falls. It's just a bit of them. We keep going. But after the climb from Oberton River, the ascent was crazy. It was over 60 degrees at points. One of the more steeper ascents I've done. This is the logging road that was here, and you can see that it's been closed off to cars. No one uses it for vehicle traffic. So people put tents here. You can see 3 dry spots where tents were last night. So it looked like a good tenting area. Alright, we can see on the bottom sign where we came from, 13.5 miles of main highway 4, over Saddleback, over Horn, over Saddleback Junior and Poplar Ridge. And where we're going, Lone Mountain and Spaulding Mountain, which I think is as far as we're going right now tonight. I keep saying on a warm day it's be an awesome place to swim. Really nice little pool here, but it's not a warm day. Alright, so we are, I want to make note of the fact that we're in an area that had a very tragic story attached to it. I'll post a link to Kyle Hates Hiking's video about this. But Jerry Largay, also known as Inchworm, the last place she stayed at was the same shelter that we just were at, and hiked up north, same as us right here, and not too much farther from here, got lost. Took a left off the trail, couldn't find our way back. I'm not sure I have the story exactly right. It's been a while since I've read about it, but she couldn't find the trail. Eventually kind of waited for someone to come rescue her and stayed in her tent and starved to death and died. Real tragic. The real tragedy, of course, is that she wasn't that far from the trail. She just didn't know it. So you have to ask yourself when you see something like this, how much do you trust these Maine bog boards? You need to be careful. I mean, what could go wrong using these bog boards? Alright, we reached Perham Stream. I guess this is the easiest place to cross as any. Alright, I know the sun's behind me, so that kind of makes it weird. But yeah, kind of wrap up today. I think we're only half a mile out from the shelter that we're staying at, and a Spaulding shelter. They call it a lean-to, but it's the same thing. Yeah, I must say it's been a pretty easy day. A couple sketchy areas, but pretty easy. Struggling a bit with just my legs hurting from yesterday's hike, I think. But overall good, and now the weather has turned awesome. You know, we had thunderstorms and all that. I don't know what's coming later today or tonight, but sun's out right now and it's beautiful. So, pretty freaking nice. Yeah, so, but I'm ready to call it a day and get some dinner made. I'm starving. I didn't stop for lunch. Just didn't feel like it. Then, once I started getting hungry, I didn't feel like stopping because I was getting closer to the end of the day. So, yeah, we're only like 15 minutes from the shelter and we'll have something to eat. And, yeah, that pretty much wraps up today. As I've mentioned, tomorrow will be a longer, harder day. So, I'll get a lot of rest tonight. Buzz is already at the shelter. He got there about 15 minutes ago. Messaged me that he's reserved a spot for me. But so far, it's him and I are the only people in the shelter. So, of course that can change pretty quickly and it'll fill up, but that's good. I was a little bit anxious as you walk down the trail. You don't know how many people have already stopped at the shelter, and you don't know if you get there and it's already full. You don't know. So that's cool. Yeah. And also messaged with Vanish, and she's arranged a hotel at the I can't remember the name of that, whatever ski resort we're at here, Mountain Inn. Looks pretty nice. And she sent us images of a local, I think called the Rack restaurant, with some really awesome looking things to eat. So, man, I wish I was there right now. So, yeah. And again, good day. And we'll talk later.